All right, what up, though? Welcome back. So, as you can tell, background's a little different. Not a villa background, pool in the background, all that stuff. What I have going on now, I'm actually in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, KLCC, City Central. Behind me, I don't know if you can really see, but literally that is the iconic Twin Towers, and that is the bridge that connects the Twin Towers. So if you can see where I'm pointing to right here, this is the actual bridge piece, and that's the bridge right there that connects the bridge to both the Twin Towers. So we only got one view right now of the whole of one of the towers. But I'm staying in a unit, me and baby, Shalene. You've seen her in the other episodes that I've posted recently. We're here for 2 weeks. This is a beautiful view. We're on the 37th floor of the W Hotel here, resident side here in KL, Kuala Lumpur, City Central. So our view is the Twin Towers, bedroom right here next door. View, wake up, look over at the Twin Towers. It's beautiful. It's awesome. And so we're here for 2 weeks so I could reset my visa in or my stay in Bali, Indonesia for another 30 to 60, potentially 90 days. So because I had already been there up until 90 days, you can only, for a basic tourist visa, you can only uh, initiate it twice after the initial 30-day entry. You can only do it two more times, so up to the 90-day period, right? And after that, you have to step out of the country to reset your visa processes within Bali, Indonesia. So you only have to step out for like a week, maybe two tops. So I took 2 weeks to step out. So we're here for 2 weeks. We've been here now for 3 days or so, and then we're headed back to Bali um, to try to work some things out to move forward from there as a couple and go from there. But in the interim, here on my inner tech, the reason why you've been seeing me post more of her is because she is a new addition within the past month and a half into my life. But she's a part of my inner tech. She's a part of my life. So I still have to ingratiate her and myself, ingratiate myself into her world and her vice versa into mine. And because my inner tech is about the reality of what we all face on a day-to-day process, but still keeping the five principles, meaning keeping them true and active in whatever's going on in our life. I think it's imperative that I show you where I am currently at the present time within my, growth and matriculation through this world at 44 years young, and trying to do everything I'm doing as I've always done from the beginning of the platform. Showing you in real time where I am and what's going on and how we operate, and whether business is doing great, good, and different, whether I'm traveling or not, whatever it might be. I'm showing you so you can understand when I talk about one of, or if not all, parts of the five principles. You understand why I'm talking about them and why I'm bringing them up, or if I'm talking about one specifically and how I felt that one has been a very pivotal part in helping me on that particular part of my journey for that day or that week or that month. If I'm using that, why I'm talking about that particular, like I said, principle, or obviously why I'm still sticking to all five, but maybe leaning into one a little bit more than the other at that particular juncture. So that being said, I want to talk to you guys today about 3 feet short of gold, Napoleon Hill, Think Real Rich, because I'm at a part right now in my business where 3 feet short of gold, or being the part of that story where I walk away from everything because not only did I want to walk away, but maybe forced out potentially, right? But still, there's a level to the 3 feet short of gold story that I took from the Napoleon Hill giving it to us, however many years ago it's been now. It may have been almost, 30, 70 or 80 years ago now, plus. Um, 80 years ago, I believe now, plus. But the story, if you're not familiar, let me get you familiar with 3 Fish Short of Gold story, and then I'll help you understand why I'm talking about it from my dynamic right now and how it's applicable to where I am in my current position right now. So 3 Feet Short of Gold, the story is, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, pardon me, but reread the book if you haven't read it. Napoleon Hill, Think You're Rich. He talked about a portion there where during the gold rush, this gentleman, knew of where gold was and bought equipment because he was told that there was gold, in a certain part of California. So he went and got the equipment, purchased it, Went out there, started digging, right? The equipment was pricey. It wasn't cheap equipment, right? So, John Deere, like, top of the line, right? Type stuff. So he goes out there, starts digging for a couple weeks, couple months, whatever it may be, and not finding anything, right? But all this time, of course, not only paying for equipment, paying for personnel, moving probably himself over there from wherever he was in the States. All this is starting to add up and cost him money. And he is not getting the reward of finding the gold to, take care of their, reimbursing of the payment. He's not finding the gold, right? The profit. So, he said, I'm gonna stick with a little bit longer, sticks with a little bit longer, still nothing. So finally, one day again, bill collectors are now calling. He's behind, debts are piling up. Like, look, I just need to get rid of this equipment. I'm over leveraged, I'm not finding it. Who wants to buy it? So he posts it as far as, post it. He says, hey, who wants to buy this equipment? So one guy says, look, I'll buy the equipment from you. I've been trying to, I've been wanting to look for gold. I'm ready to do it. So he says, sure. He gives him the equipment, or, sells him the equipment, recoups a little bit of his money, but obviously he's, strung out now on debt. But that's not the part of the story that's important. So now this gentleman, before he actually takes the equipment to begin digging, and obviously the first thought is where the guy left the machine where it was, right? So obviously the first thought is there's no gold here because this guy left. This guy wouldn't have sold the machine if there was gold here, right? So before he picks the machine up, though, because the machine is a big machine, it's not something you just easily move, right? He's like, look, let me find someone who understands topography, who understands the lay of the land, who understands, gold minerals, where they would develop, all this other stuff. So he gets someone basically who's knowledgeable about the land, pays them. They say, yo, we've done our research. You are going to be surprised. Keep digging this way. Just go 3 feet. He digs 3 feet. Didn't have to move the machine other than just dig 3 feet, and there's gold. 3 feet short of gold, my man stops. This other guy becomes wealthy. This had implications on a number of levels from Napoleon Hill's teaching and standpoint, because number one, the primary thing is, you can know about an opportunity. You can go out and invest in it and start, thinking you're going to reap rewards. But if you don't do your due diligence, you're just going to waste your money and waste your time. That's one thing, right? Because the one man just went out there knowing the general idea of the area. He's heard that gold was there, but he didn't do the research of hiring someone who understood the real lay of the land and understood the land itself and where to actually put the machine, to be more efficient and effective to get the outcome of profit, right? Of gold. This other man did, right? So not only did he, become wealthy, but he was, wasted no time in doing so because he was smart in how he approached it. And then also too, the other part of the story, which is what most people take from it, which is my man stopped literally 3 feet short of gold. Imagine you do all this work, invest all this money, put all this time in, and you stop 3 feet short before you actually hit the thing because you're frustrated with the process. You're not seeing the results. The money is piling up. The debts are piling up. The time is being invested. And you're just like, I just don't care anymore. I don't care to try to find research. I don't care to ask questions. I don't care to do anything. I've done this now for the past, whatever it was, a couple months, years, whatever it was that this guy was doing it. And he's like, I'm fed up. And he gives up on it, right? So Napoleon Hill's point is do not stop 3 feet short of gold. Do not, you did all this work. You got all this far. You went through all this pain. You went through all this suffering. You went through all this investment. You still got the debts. So why would you stop 3 feet? Again, unbeknownst to him, he didn't know he was 3 feet short. True enough. But again, take another part, the first part, if you do your research, if you do your proper reconnaissance and you're willing to, again, not be skewed by the process and focusing on the wrong thing, but focus on the things that will help you pull yourself out of the struggle that is, then you can go on and obtain what is you come to obtain, which is the goal, right? And just doing a little bit more work, 3 feet short, 3 feet worth of work, but 3 feet is still better than nothing at all, right? Up until this point. So for me, I bring this up right now because, as I sat here earlier today, we've been here for a few days now, 3 or 4 days now, and I prayed for this. And I'm not prayer like, Jesus Christ prayer, but just my higher power and I had conversations about this a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And I had a deja vu moment sitting here in this chair in a different position, looking out while I do my work. I do my work sitting here, looking straight at the towers during the day. I had a deja vu moment with my lady in the other room. Just like I literally had deja vu because I prayed for this. To be in a position where I'm running a business where it affords me the opportunity to make money in the States, travel the world. I'm also building another platform that's allowed me to make money. I have money from other avenues as well, but just having these things in place, it's a blessing and it's a beautiful thing. Now, I also had a vision and a dream and a conversation with my higher power years ago about the fact that the business that I have, I'm going to grow it and I'm going to put it in a place where nine figures is without a question there. And I said this year was going to be the year that I was going to hit that nine figure mark. And it's funny because two things were in place that were putting me only a couple six figures away, couple six figures away. And we almost had another deal that was actually going to put us right there at that nine figure mark. Now I'm at a deal where I might lose the whole thing based off of some circumstances that have happened in the business where I might lose the contracts. And what I had to go back to and think about, and because I've been dealing with this while I've been here in Malaysia, and so being here in Malaysia on the on the east coast, I'll be on 12 hours ahead of the east coast, 11 or 12 hours ahead, and the west coast, obviously, 14 to 15 hours ahead, depending upon where you are, or Central America. So I'm having to stay up at night to do the work to see where I can correct this issue that has gone awry that is costing me potentially, literally major six figures, and costing employees, their jobs as well. So I've been trying to stay up and deal with this. But I say all that to say, this is part of the 3 feet short of gold story from a man's side who gave up premature. Because the reality is, when you think about, like, you have to really put yourself in the real person's shoes on both sides when you really think about these stories. When you think about the fact that the gentleman who got the equipment in the first place and started digging, he obviously has some business acumen, some wherewithal, some kind of structure or knowledge to things because he knew he had to get the equipment. He had the economics to be able to afford the equipment. That was major equipment to start digging and going into the ground. He had to have a team or he had to have himself, whatever it was, but he had a fluency of some kind to be able, whether it's an intellectual fluency, whether it was influency of economics, he had the knowledge base and the fortitude and ability to be able to put himself in that position. But along that path, though, just because when he set out and said he's going to do equipment and he's going to find the goal, didn't mean that it was going to be overnight and didn't mean that it was going to be a smooth process at all, especially to try to obtain something that's going to change the trajectory of the generational wealth of his family, which is, I'm sure he was thinking to some regard, like, look, I could be set. You know what I'm saying? Now, how he said it, still, it all means the same thing. This is about to change everything, right? So with that comes when you really understand that if this is what I'm going for, something that is lofty, that is big. And when I understand I have to do the work, I understand I got to get the machine. I understand I got to dig. I got to dig for maybe a couple of weeks, couple of months, maybe even a year or two. But I got to dig, 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 and I got to go deep. I got to, excavate the rocks. I got to put them somewhere. I got to make sure I don't, pile them up to where I'm redigging over the same stuff. I got to make sure I am moving in a direction where if I'm not finding it here, I might be closer to finding it here. And what's helped me find it? You got to do the work, right? Machines gonna break down, needing new equipment, needing new blades, needing new belts, whatever it might be, needing new more oil, needing to pay for that. The prices go up and down. The oil says I had budgeted for this, but now it's cutting into this here, and then I got sick, I got injured off of it, so now I got to take right. All these factors come into place along his what we call it the 3 feet short story, but his story was he was going to go do it. And I guess a reason I'm bringing this to you is because the reason why I have principle number 3, sitting down, being still in deep stillness, is because talking with my higher power, I've been questioning the journey at this particular point with the process of, my company and what it's going through right now and why the things file the way they file? Why did it, why are we having difficulty with the company wanting to keep us on board and trying to look at us in any way, shape, or form as to we're not capable, but we are. Mistakes do happen. However, why did this particular mistake happen that has put employees in position of peril, right? And it can be corrected, but it's a matter of just being still and just waiting, to see how it's going to be corrected because we're all doing the work to make it corrected. But for me, as the head, right, I'm thinking when I talk to my higher power and talk with, converse, I always go back to, I'm like, why do you make it so hard to go that extra 3 feet? Because this has been years of business, of navigating personalities, years of trying to manage funds, limited as they are, to continue to be in a place where no one has to stress, but at the same token, you have to stress because you got to sustain the thing, right? This has been years of this, taking on other jobs, trying to sustain yourself in one avenue, bring in income from this area over here just to be able to pay, Peter and Paul over here while you're still trying to, live and develop and have this uh, windfall or nest egg build up over here, right? That you're trying to build up, but it's always like it's not right where it wants to be. And right when you think you're about to break through, something like this happens, right? So I just wonder when I talk to them, I'm like, why do you guys make it that way? Why do you do that? And the other thing I can always come back to what I believe they always tell me is you have to continue to build yourself and fight to grow and never get complacent. Because once you get complacent, the nature is to just be and you never evolve from that. So it's their job to continue the entropy, the chaos, the levels of struggle, seeming struggle, to force oneself to continue to grow, to see if you are going to continue placing that one foot in the other, in front of the other, in order to go 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, and then go. And what they keep trying to express to me is the energy. When I say they, the energy, that the power that be, is that I'm doing it to myself, being frustrated with the timeline because I'm putting timelines of, because in human nature, well, I got deadlines of bills, right? I got deadlines of debt collectors. I got deadlines of people needing, certain information at a certain time in order for them to be able to sustain immigration or not, right? That type of thing, right? So we put it on deadlines, right? And people are getting frustrated. People want to know over here, why did this get done this way? And I'm not hearing enough communication here, even though the communication has been here to the main thing. And you do know what's going on, but you feel like it's right. So it's deadlines and miscommunication, even though it's communication. So it becomes this thing of, but my power energy, you're doing it. You're suffering your mind on your own. You're doing that. Just let it work itself out. Do the fucking work. Do the fucking work. But then let it work out. And then do the fucking work of the second part of that story, which is get the right people in place, have the right conversations, move the machine in the right direction, and then dig from there. And when you do that, then you'll be 3 feet short from goal. But you cannot throw up your hands and do what the first part of the story is. I've done all this. It's too much. It's too much. I'm too much in debt. I'm too tired. I'm too aggravated. I'm too upset. And then I'm too to go 2 or 3 feet forward and figure out, oh, maybe I need to go this way and ask this person over here who's been excavator, who's done land research, topography research before. They may have a better idea. Instead, what we do is we complain with the people who are in the problem. We complain with people who also have disdain and frustration in their own lanes. And then we don't see the ability to be able to go ask someone better or someone different to get a different perspective, to be able to see something different and then act differently. So the higher power keeps telling me, stay with this. You're 3 feet short of goal. Stay with it. And stay with the work ethic and the discipline of not changing the character that is the right character in this, meaning you fess up to when things weren't done, and because I'm the owner, I take the full responsibility. And then I make the changes that need to be made, whether that's letting go of people who didn't do right, whether that's me also taking less pay because I didn't do right and I got to take less pay because I evidently hired the people that I thought were going to do what was going to be done properly and they didn't. So, and this is not a statement to say I'm firing somebody. It's just saying I got to make the course correction necessary, whatever that means within this particular sector of problem solving situation or issue that I have to deal with. Right? If it was as simple as buying a machine that goes digging and then course correcting and changing that, changing out the machine or changing the angle and bringing in a team to pivot it from a little bit east west to north south. You know what I'm saying? I would be talking about that, but I'm talking about what I have as a business and how I have to look at it from standpoint of how I got into this position where things are shaky and either I throw up my hands and try to walk away, or which is not an option, or I sustain and I figure out where the 3 feet short of goal is for me in a situation. And I ask better questions. I move stealthier. I get a better team around me. And I first start by doing better myself and assessing what it is that I need to do in order to make sure this is going to be different for the next go around. So the 3 feet short of goal parable and phrase and story or whatever is so powerful to me on so many levels as I just articulated because it brings about the truth of where we are at every phase of when we think we want to give up or things aren't right or we're not going to make it or it's not going to come out the way we thought it would. And I like it because every one of us who are striving to do anything in this world, and that's most of us, whether you're just a person trying to go from not, living in a 1 bedroom apartment, you want to go to a 2 bedroom apartment, you know what I'm saying? And you need to get X amount of dollars to be able to sustain, rent for that process for the next 5, 10 years. And you're working on trying to change your career path. You might be 3 feet short of goal from a standpoint. It looks like, every job you apply for, they're not going to accept you and you need those jobs in order to get this rent. So you feel like, well, what's the point? At least I got a place with my head. I'm going to stop 3 feet short of goal, meaning you may not put in the next resume that might be, and you may not go to the next interview and you may not go into the next interview with the right energy, which would lead you to not be able to walk those extra 3 feet to get that job you need to get that new place you want. You know what I'm saying? It can be as little as that, or it can be as big as, walking away from the fact that, you're in a business right now, like myself, that can generate good wealth when things are running very well. It can generate big wealth, but you also have to have the overhead of employees, insurance, possibly being sued. Anytime the company wants to take the employees, they can. So you will lose the contract. You still have to sustain a certain level of, deliverables that, can be very stressful. And is this something that you want to do, going forward? And is it something that you'll be able to do? Because you may be, forced out of it, like someone who got fired, right? So sometimes some things you're forced out of and you're not able to walk 3 feet in that direction, in that niche, in that career path, but you can still do it in something else, right? So what I'm saying is we have to make sure that third principle, sitting down, convening with your higher self and your higher power within you, and that is us and around us. You want to make sure you're always addressing the ability to appreciate the fact that you can sustain the work ethic and the deliverables on the process necessary, even when the process, especially when the process is not necessarily as favorable or seemingly as favorable as you would like it to be, no matter how far you are along the journey, whether you're 2 years in or whether you're 16 years in. What you want to do is making sure you're focusing on, are you doing everything you can do to make sure you hit those next 3 feet in order to break through to the success that you're looking for from whatever it is that you're trying to obtain, whether it's relationship success, whether it's economic, whether it's career, whether it's political, whatever it is. Just focus on making sure you're asking the right questions and then delivering the right responses to those questions by taking the action steps necessary and continual action steps to recognize and know that you are probably just 3 feet short of the attainment of the thing you're talking about you want to attain, whether that's knowledge, whether that's energy, whether that's money, whether that's love, whatever it is, you're probably just 3 feet short from it. And the reality is, like I've talked about before, 3 feet short from the physical obtainment of it. But if you really understand, you already have the obtainment of the thing once you made the decision that you were going to have it. That's why I also start off by talking about sitting here, looking at this view, the Twin Towers, with my lady, my gorgeous lady in the other room, and the way in which we're doing this, and the way in which I'm doing this. I had a deja vu moment because I literally prayed. I was like, I saw this. I literally saw this. Because as you can see, this is a floor to ceiling window, and it faces that kind of. I mean, the building is, another probably 40 stories taller than what we are. Or no, so I'm sorry, we're on 37, probably another 20 stories taller than what we are. I think only the Burj in Dubai have the largest office building in the world still right now, over 100 plus, right? So there might be maybe another 30 here. They might be right at 100 floors because this goes up to 53 floors here. Anyway, I digress. Sitting here, because I said to myself years ago, I just had this vision in my head, overlooking the window, shirt off, right? Got my shirt on now because it's Malaysia. And it's just, it's not Bali, and it's not that hot, right? But shirt off. I was standing here earlier, shirt off, standing in front of the window while I was doing the work. I stood up real quick, looking at this massive building and the city below. And I was looking at her because she was laying in the bed doing some work, not anything raunchy, but she was laying in the bed, just looking gorgeous. And she smiled at me, and I was like, man. When you make a decision and you tell the universe you want to do a certain thing, it does come true and it does happen. Because it was deja vu. Like I had goosebumps. I was like, man, I saw this before. Like I seen this. I mean, in Malaysia of all places, but I can't say it was Malaysia per se, but I just saw myself on a high rise, building over and comfortably just kind of being in the situation. And I'm not all the way comfortable because, like I said, I got a situation going on where I got to determine what's going on with this business. And I might be forced out before I want to prematurely, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still doing it. And that was all part of the process. So what I didn't do a great job of with my higher power is manifesting that part of the business side, which is on me. So that's where I stopped 3 feet short, evidently, is because I didn't fully complete the vision of saying, again, the number, how much, the level of non-stress from how the companies are operating in a position of not fearful for loss of the company, but more so the growth of, an NVIDIA style or a Google style, right? Alphabet style or Apple style, right? That's what I need to go. And that's my 3 feet where I feel short so far in my planning with my higher power on the third principle. So that's what I've been working on the last, I would say, literally 48 hours in the conversation is claiming that and believing and then putting the faith within the clarity of what it is of the goal that I have. Because I still have the vision, I still have the next vision. Already know what it's going to be to manifest where I'll be sitting down, and the next, right now, the villa that I have in my mind that I've already seen how operational and things that are going to go on with family being flown out, friends being flown out, and just the environment that I'll be in. But based off of, again, I didn't have this part of the idealization, this part of the thought clearer enough, and so that's where I believe 2 to 3 feet short comes in. We've done up until this part, but then we fall short of not continuing the thought of what this part's supposed to look like. And then that's when we hit those emotional stress moments and all that. And I will say, and if she was here, she would tell you, um, even with everything that's going on, I mean, most importantly, it's the lack of sleep because I'm staying up now full evening, nighttime here to be up daytime, stateside, which I have to do because again, that's just what needs to be done right now in order to uh, deal with this storm and navigate, through this circumstance right now to get the outcome that I believe we will all get to, which we will be okay, just fine. We're gonna be just fine regardless, but really just fine, with everybody being in a position and us sustaining of the business and also growing it from that point. But it's how I handle it right now. And so the biggest issue is really just more the sort of rest part, just getting to sleep. But I'm very happy with the energy that's been delivered through me to my team, to those who have the questions and wanting to pull the plug and be upset with us. Because these are all the ways in which this process, this part of it is demanding me to step up and not knee jerk react and then have to step back and say, oh, I shouldn't have done it. No, because I've been here before. I've been in these circumstances before. And at the end of the day, it's going to work itself out. At the end of the day, the responsibility has been taken on by me. What I can say, we have not done, or I have not done, I have not done. And what I can do to do, we are doing, and I'm doing it. So it will fall where it needs to fall. And the response in the ether and the universe, I believe, is what's going to also propel, again, that next 3 feet to close the gap into understanding that we are deserving of the next challenge and the next thing that needs to come down because we handled this one in the proper manner, in the proper way. And that's all what my higher power keeps saying to me that I can do, and that's all I will do, and then rest in that. So the deja vu, like I said, is going to happen again in a good way, because I was telling a friend today of mine, I only see the glass being half full. I've never seen it be half empty. And I only really see it being able to run us over in my mind. So, but it's my job to continue seeing that and not seeing it just as half full, because that's where that 3 feet short for me and what the universe is requesting of me, requiring of me to be able to deliver on, is to have this almost childlike ignorance to the negative things that happen, because they're going to be there and they're part of it. But I am built in such a way to where I believe I'm strong to be able to handle it. It's kind of like, back during, medieval times and war times, you had the biggest guy. He's getting stabbed and, getting sliced on his arm and arrows, in his shoulder, but he's just so big. It just seems like he just keeps stepping, right? So that's what I feel like I am, and that's what we're supposed to be when we work on ourselves. Again, when these 5 principles are delivering yourself daily, you're able to deliver that to yourself, and more importantly, to the people around you, so they can see and feel the encouragement of not the negative of what is happening, but more so how can we grow through this and then be what we need to be from it, as well as also it rectify itself in a positive way. Because so often I think people just think that, well, it's going so bad, it's going so bad that it's going to stay bad. And it depends. It does a lot of times, because again, that's what you bring about, right? But me, I just feel like, I've seen enough of this to know, unbeknownst to me, that it always works itself out. Even when it doesn't seem like it's working itself out, it's working itself out. My job is to find what that is. And sometimes you don't have to find it. You just got to be still, because it'll show itself, right? So allow yourself to not fall short, 3 feet short of gold. That Napoleon Hill Think Grow Rich was a powerful story on that. Allow yourself the grace necessary to accept this part of the journey's challenge that's given to you, but know you have to pivot yourself and then sit in it. For me, is staying up late, being clear-minded, focused, to deliver the email a certain way, to talk to this person a certain way, to make sure numbers are this way, to make sure the people who need to get the job done feel empowered to get the job done, because it still needs to get done, regardless of how we may feel about it. There were some things that didn't go right. So at the end of the day, we still need to correct it and get it done the best way we can, so the outcome can be the outcome that we need it to be within the time that we need to be, done, right? So all these things have to be taken care of. So the 3 feet short, no matter where I am in the world, will be walked. And I will continue putting that one step in front of the other, because it's not me, it's the power that is within me and the power that's above me that is guiding me on this and saying, hey, this is part of the process. You knew that this was part, potentially something like this is going to be on your journey. Either you quit or you continue moving forward. And I choose to continue moving forward, because what else am I going to do? If I quit, nothing gets taken care of. And then this beautiful dream and this beautiful reality that I have, that's come from my beautiful dream, it gets cut short, and gets cut, and it doesn't need to, because it's supposed to be able to not only sustain, but sustain at a high quality level going forward. And that's what we focus on. It's kind of like, if you get a diagnosis from a doctor and they find a lump, they're like, well, we take care of it now. you'll be fine. But if you get scared and don't want to take care of it, then it can, metastasize and get bigger and all that other stuff, right? And get worse, right? Well, or if you do nothing, right? And so, well, let's do something. I know you're scared. You don't want to go on the scalpel. You don't want to go on the knife. But at the end of the day, it's temporary pain to have longevity and quality of excellence going forward, as opposed to avoidance and then potential, well, not potential, sooner death than necessary, right? So all these things are things we got to think about and keep going forward, and allow the 3 feet short to do your proper research, because that's part of it. You know what I'm saying? To take the proper action, but know that within 3 feet, and 3 feet might be 3 years. 3 feet might be 30 years. 3 feet might be 300 years. We're not living that long just yet, but it's going to happen. And even if it happens not now, but in the after, with whatever the power that you have, wherever that is, it's still happening, right? Or it might be happening in another dimension, but those are conversations for different days. But for right now, in this dimension that we're living in right now, it can happen, and I believe it will happen if you make the right pivots and believe that faith we talked about in a few episodes ago, about 4 or 5 episodes ago. If you haven't seen that episode on faith, you have to believe in it. That's where the faith needs to go, and how you execute and how you walk through those 5 principles, especially that third one, talking to your higher power, how you navigate that with the belief that it's going to come through because of the work that you're willing to put in on the thing, then it comes through. And the funny thing, it comes through before it even comes through, because it's just like, oh, it'd be fine. It's no way it can't, because everything that I do goes towards that. And all I see is that being completed. You know what I'm saying? All of it being completed, even the thing that seems like it's not the right thing right now, and it's the negative thing right now, right? So 3 feet short of goal, guys. Go out here, keep walking, put one foot in the other, in front of the other. You're getting close to the holiday. Like, the holiday is like, I think, another week or so. New Year's another week or two. Um, the more I'm sitting here, I kind of wish maybe I should extend this one more week, at least to see through Christmas. But I know the fireworks are probably dope around here too. Looking around the building and that. But yeah, I'll probably head back to Bali and bring in the New Year with baby girl there on the beach somewhere, looking at fireworks for my second time now. So yeah, but enjoy, guys. It's the process. Don't let it overwhelm you. You got this. We'll talk in a minute. Live well, live well.